So the final role that we need to go over is that of the dev team. So the dev team is the group of people that gets the project done. The team is nothing without the dev part of the team. Now, quick note, this is a software engineering course, so we're going to talk about this for software. But Scrum can be used in many different areas of life, like architecture design, or anywhere that you need like sort of a quick, fast, and agile way of developing. You can have this. I mean, these could all be architects. These could all be business people. It works in everything else. But in our situation, they're the development team. And by development, we mean coding. So our dev team are the people who are going to get the project done. We're going to come up with an idea, an app, a online website, something that we want to code, and the dev team is going to be the ones that end up writing the code to make the thing work. Without the dev team, you have nothing. Without the product owner and the scrum master, a team could self-organize and they could probably get a product out. But without the dev team, you've got nothing, and the dev team is the most important part because of that. So the first thing that the dev team is going to do is they're going to collaborate with the product owner to create and refine user stories. They've got this idea, or the product owner has taken this idea, this vision from the outside stakeholders, and he's condensed it down into a vision that he wants to communicate with the dev team. The dev team is going to ask questions about things because guess what? The product owner, a lot of times, they're not technical, so they're not going to know the ins and outs of what they want. So they're going to work with the dev team to sort of meld down just a little bit the different stories. And like, for example, one of the stories might be something really large and the product owner doesn't know that. Maybe they want, they're going to say something like, oh, we just need to store the information of the user when they log in. Well, the dev team's going to come in and be like, what do you mean by that? What database are we going to use? Are we going to use, what database? How's the API going to be set up? How are we going to develop that? How do we break that up into sprints? And they're going to come up with a list of questions. And then from those questions, you'll refine it into, instead of one big card, you'll break it apart into smaller cards. You'll talk about the technology. The dev team will come together and they'll figure it out themselves. So that's one of the tasks that a dev team is going to do. Now, the dev team is self-organizing. What that means is that they are going to figure out how the internal structure of their team operates. In an ideal Scrum environment, everyone is on the same page. However, you got to understand that in the real world, some people are going to have more expertise. You're going to have a couple senior engineers, a couple like junior engineers, some middle guys. And so they're going to have different expertises. In the, ideal world, they would all have a perfect knowledge of the entire stack, but there's going to be a little weakness here and there. So the dev team is going to self-organize to work around that. They're going to talk. They're going to be the ones that choose how they choose stories, how they make their own decisions. No one is ever going to command them. They're all going to come together, figure out what the most efficient way to do everything is, and they're going to do that. So they're going to talk about it together and be like, you know what, Bob, I think that is your best card. And Bob's going to be like, well, I kind of wanted to do this card right here. And Janet also wanted to do this card over here. So they're going to make a discussion. They're going to figure it out. And whatever's best for the team, that's the decision they're going to make. The product owner is not going to help make those decisions. The Scrum Master can help facilitate. They can maybe, if they just can't come to a decision, he could step in and be like, from my past experience, I think Janet would probably be best in this card here. And then, the dev team might take that advice. But overall, the team is self-organizing. They're going to be the ones that do everything that is in their responsibilities by themselves. There's no commander. It's all autonomous. So then, the next thing is writing code and test to fit expectations. There is a process or an expectation with these user stories. The cards is a lot of times what we like to say in the field. This expectation needs to be tested to make sure that we actually hit the target. If we have a target here, we need to make sure that we have some way of knowing where on the target we hit. Are we hitting dead center? Are we a little bit off? Does it need a little bit of work? And we're going to work with the product owner to make sure that we're writing the tests and we're creating the code that he is looking for. With conducting research, design, and prototyping, the responsibility of the dev team is to do this. They're the tech people. They're the ones that are going to know the best ways to research, design, and prototype. There's going to be an idea, a user story that comes down that says, can we build this? And guess what? The product owner is not going to know if it's possible because he's not a technical person. The Scrum Master is not going to really know. He or she might not be a technical person. And the stakeholders might not know. All of them might not be technical. They just have a good idea. So they're going to send it off to the dev team. Maybe this is a sprint goal, is to prototype out and see if it actually is applicable. and they're going to research it, they're going to design it, they're going to prototype it, and they're going to present it, and then the product owner and stakeholders can decide if that's a direction they want to go with. With this, they're going to help make decisions based on architectures, designs, things like that. They're going to be told a vision. I want you to create this app, and I want it to do X, Y, and Z. But they're not going to be told how they're supposed to build it. Unless the stakeholder has a very, very specific need. Maybe they're a client that only works with a certain database or something. If that's a thing, that's going to be a requirement, and they're just going to have to work with that. But if it's not a requirement, then it's all up to the dev team. The dev team is going to talk about what the best architecture is. How are they going to design it? Are they going to design it like, with components that work like this? Is it going to use some of the, stuff we've learned? Is it going to use a server or a master-slave system? Is it going to use the server-client system? They're going to be the ones that figure out all of that stuff and then implement all of that stuff. And it's all going to be encapsulated in sprints. So they're going to have a problem, they're going to design it, they're going to put the best architecture in, and then they're going to code it all within the sprint. They also help develop and maintain the current iteration. What does that mean? That means that each iteration, a sprint, they're going to help make the decisions on what that sprint is going to incorporate. They're going to look at the product backlog, and with the product owner, they're going to decide what the sprint backlog is going to be. They're going to decide what should go into it to reach the sprint goal. They're going to make those choices, and they're going to commit to those choices. What is going to go in here? And then once they have put their names into the bucket here, for say, they have decided themselves and they said they can get it done. So they're going to commit to getting that done within the sprint, the 2 to 3 to 4 week sprint. They're going to do whatever it takes to make sure they're on track to do that. If they start falling behind, the scrum master might come in, the product owner might come in. Everyone's going to have a discussion on how they get back on track, but the dev team committed to it and they need to try to stick to it as best they can. Things come up sometimes, deadlines are missed, but that should not be a norm. The dev team should be committing. They should understand their own potential, and they should know exactly what they can accomplish in 2 weeks and try to hit it every single time. That is your dev team for you. Their responsibilities are a little more straightforward, but they also are going to be a little bit harder because you're not a single person. You're a team, which means you need to work with the team. The dev team can be from 3 to 9 people. Less than this, and you have small amounts of interaction, which remove the serendipitous sort of experiences and stuff that create better code. There's no checkers when you only have 2 people, stuff like that. So you want 3 people to at least have enough communication that you can solve most problems and make them good solutions. Over 9, you got too many interactions. There's going to be sub-cults and sub-cliques and everything forming up. You have a dev team of 50 people. There's no way you can properly manage that. So what you actually have is you're going to have 50 people breaking up into tiny little cliques everywhere with sort of a central guy, and it's going to get messy, and it's not going to be Scrum. So 3 to 9 people, they're going to have to work together. They're going to have to figure out the best ways to do things, and that's hard. And that's the difficult part of the dev team, but they're the most important part of this whole Scrum procedure.